We've talked enough about good Juno and established that good Juno is extremely boring for the most part. Let's watch some terrible Juno. Let's watch some Juno that makes your eyes hurt. Because if you want to learn how to be good at Juno, what you actually need to do is you need to see how someone plays Juno all wrong and terribly. So let's get stuck into it and we can watch some terrible Juno. And you mustn't take the bait here because in the very first fight, ChiYo is actually going to do something. But don't be fooled into thinking that just because he did something here, that it's actually good. Because this is a big part of the problem for ChiYo's Juno. So you can see here, what he did is he rushed in front of his whole team, he popped his little Orbeez, his torpedoes or his balls, whatever we'd like to call them, and he just shot them at the enemy team. And it actually worked out wonderfully for him, because Fielder hit an anti, and he managed to basically help clean up a kill on Lee Jae-gon. They went really, really quickly. But ChiYo did fuck all here. He didn't heal anyone on his team. He put himself in a really risky position going in front of a lot of players to do it. And honestly, the only reason they won is because Fielder hit a nutty anti. His balls had nothing to do with this success. And you'll see there's a consistent issue with ChiYo on the Juno, is that even though this worked out here and it helped him get this nice early burst, often if you use the balls really, really early, you're going to have a problem. You're going to struggle. So here, we'll see. Again, ridiculously early balls. 0% chance of any healing coming out from this. If you look in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see that there is now a 9-second cooldown on his balls, a 9-second cooldown on his speed ring, and a 6-second cooldown on the shift. You can see that ChiYo is playing purely for ult charge, purely for maximum output. And this is not how you play Juno effectively. If you have a time where you can definitely do this, you can definitely get the poke in and then definitely not take a fight for the next, 10, 15 seconds, it's okay to just blow your cooldowns for poking. But Overwatch is a game where you need to balance conservatively using your cooldowns for maximum value and using your cooldowns as many times as possible in a fight. And I think here, for ChiYo, doing what he's doing against a Symmetra comp, it's psychotic. It's really dangerous. Because if you do that, you're going to get caught with your pants down when the enemy team puts a TP down, TPs into you, and uses Shout. So now, his teammates are under pressure. He is under pressure. He has no fly, he has no speed ring, and he has no balls. Unfortunately. Even though he appears to have massive balls with the way that he plays, he actually has no balls. And you can see here, making things even worse, ChiYo has kited inside. ChiYo's hero can double jump and fly away from things. If ChiYo were to double jump out here in the open, he may be able to escape the clutches of the Junker Queen. But instead he's gone to a place with a nice low ceiling so that he can't get away from anyone. So if you're playing Juno, there may be a few takeaways right now. Try to have your balls available for when the skill exchange starts in a fight so that you can actually counter abilities, heal teammates and damage enemies at the same time, and try to kite into places where you can double jump to safety rather than where you can double jump to hit your head on a ceiling. Now, feast your eyes upon ChiYo attempting to double jump to safety. It appears that he flew a little bit too close to the sun, hit his head on a lip, and is now dead. But would you look at that, just as he's dying, his cooldowns are about to come back. Lucky ChiYo. So I think there are lots of lessons to be learned from the way that ChiYo plays Juno, because if you basically do the exact opposite of everything that he's doing, you could very well be good at this hero. This is a mid-reel ad where I beg you to follow my Twitch. This video is just an excerpt from my Twitch stream. That's twitch.tv/Unter. If you don't use Twitch for whatever reason, perhaps you should start using it. If not, I suppose you can like, comment, subscribe, all of the other crap that you're typically begged to do on YouTube, as I'm sure that most of the people watching this will not be subscribed to my channel. Cheers. And now again, ChiYo's done the same thing as he did in the first fight, where he's put his speed ring down in the choke and then shot at the enemy team's spawn. And this is something which will never net you a kill. It will never save someone's life and it will never kill anyone. So the only reason to do this is for ult charge. If ChiYo was so down on ult charge that instead of just poking with his gun a little bit and then walking away, he needed to use all of his abilities to do it, then, they must have been trying to fight with his ult in the next 2 seconds. Because otherwise now, ChiYo needs to kite away for a whopping 9 seconds before his cooldowns are actually back. You can see that he's farming stats. He has ult already. He is just wasting his cooldowns for no reason. He's charging enemy support ults instead of his own. He's a crackhead. He has no idea what he's doing. And now you can see again, It actually looks like this time around Fnatic are going to take their time and ChiYo will have his cooldowns back. But there's just such spectacularly low value on all of ChiYo's cooldowns. Again, he committed his shift here for nothing, to just float around in the back. This is not mindful. This is not demure. This is dog shit. This is somebody that is just pressing his buttons because they're available on his screen. So really, you need this shift available for when you need to get a good angle, to maximize your value with the balls, with the Orbeez of Juno. You need to get this wonderful panoramic view of the fight. You need to wait until skills are exchanged, and then you need to float up into main, into the open, where you can see both your teammates and the enemy, and then lock on, get 5, 6 targets on your screen, and just ball them, just hit everyone. But instead, ChiYo, what does he do? He just burns his shift for nothing before anything has happened. Now, if you're going to get the balls, half of the enemy team is going to be hidden behind the pillar. Let's see how he does it. Okay, so already I see a chronic issue here, where he has used his balls before his ultimate. The balls really benefit, massively benefit from the ultimate. Each ball is 85% damage. I want to say the damage boost from the ultimate is an additional 35%. If there was an order of operations, you know, say we're back in high school, something that ChiYo might not be familiar with, but say we're back in high school, the order of operations is ult, balls, collect your free fight, win. Unfortunately, ChiYo, he didn't learn BODMAS or PEDMAS or whatever else you were taught in high school. So poor little ChiYo, he comes out here and he goes balls, ult, lose fight instead. And that's a big problem here. So ChiYo needs to figure this shit out, and quick, because the way that you maximize value of your 85 damage lock-on to everything on your screen is by making that 85 damage lock-on amplified by an additional 35%. So here, ChiYo has fluffed the order of operations of his ultimate, and then, I mean, things just go from bad to worse for the guy, because instead of going through his ultimate that amplifies your damage, you can see that he doesn't even know what the ultimate seems to do, because you get that 35% damage amp and you get unlimited healing. What does he do instead? He goes inside, back into the space that we've already established, and he has already learned the hard way that you cannot fly away. He goes into the tiny little insulated space, which is where this hero sucks, because you can't fly away from anything. He goes away from his own damage amping ultimate that he could be walking through, and feeds his fucking brains out walking into a car wash of sim turrets and an enemy Mei. So this is truly a disaster class in Juno. I think, you know, we can reverse engineer this gameplay. By watching this gameplay, we can actually figure out how to play Juno extremely well. Use your ult first, and then use your balls after. Walk through your ultimate in the open space, rather than walking away from your ultimate in the enclosed space, because that plays to the opposite of Juno's kit. Position in a manner where you can see the enemy team and your team at the same time, and then throw out your balls and hit everyone all together when the fight has already started. Don't peek the enemy spawn, use all 3 of your cooldowns to poke their spawn when you already have ultimate, no less, and then get pushed when you have no cooldowns. Again, wait for the fight to start before using your cooldowns, or make your cooldowns the reason that you're initiating. Initiate with the ult, initiate with the speed ring, but don't just peek, poke, and then run away to be run down by a Symmetra TP. Let's see if we can keep this going. Let's see if we can get some more fights out of ChiYo, because I'm sure there's more to learn. You know, I was thinking that I would watch Violet and talk about how good Juno gameplay is boring, but frankly, I think from watching ChiYo, we can actually derive all we need to know about this hero, truly. And, you know, maybe I can save the Violet coma sleeping review for another day. This was actually good ball usage here from young ChiYo. Unfortunately, he lined up his ball usage with a Diva Bomb. And the problem with that is that balls are great when the enemy team is peeking you. And when Diva Bombs come out, the enemy tends to de-peek. So one little shortcoming there, but, you know, I digress. He managed to hit a lot of players with his balls. He got a lot of lock on. So, you know, credit where it's due. I'll pay that one. We see a nice little speed ring not coming out pre-fight, and they disengage off that. So that's not bad. Let's see how he approaches this next one. He has balls again. So let's see if he can wait until his tank and his Venture do something in the front, and then throws out his balls. Let's see. This is not bad. This is, again, it's not bad. They're trying to disengage. He throws down his speed ring. It does seem that there's something a little bit wrong because he doesn't actually have vision of his Ana when she dies. So maybe there was something a little bit wrong with his position there where he wasn't aware of his own Ana's position. But at the end of the day, they're playing into a Symmetra comp and they're playing Ana Juno. And that is really difficult for the Ana because the Ana will often be TP'd on. So I would say that this is not in the wheelhouse of the Juno, to be honest. Maybe there was a chance for ChiYo to save his Ana if he hit some balls on her and then started pocketing her and he speed ringed her away instead. So maybe a little bit of an awareness issue, but not nearly as critical as what we've seen in the first few fights. Now we see the ring coming out in the choke, but there's no coordination at all with this. When you watch Crazy Raccoons playing the Juno comp, you see 3, 2, 1, speed ring goes down. D.Va flies through the Juno. The second the ring comes up, everyone bursts through the ring super quickly. You're not seeing that level of coordination coming out from the Falcons and from ChiYo right now. When you see the ring go down, it seems like a confused mess of children standing in the choke doing nothing. So I think that, you know, this is an ability that has really high team play potential, but it looks like the team play is struggling right now. Here, I mean, you know, ChiYo in the second half, he's done as best he could, you know? He kept vision of everyone, he hit as many heal orbs as he could, but the anti-heal is what, you know, potentially took them down. Here, second layer of orbs again, he had a nice position for that. You saw he flew up and backwards here, so he could see lots of enemies, lots of teammates. That is max value ball usage right there. Mid-fight, you see everyone. The challenge is making your first layer of balls look like that one. Making sure that you get 2 layers of balls in the same fight, but also hitting everyone at once. Because you see, ChiYo's issue, it's an issue of prematurity. ChiYo tends to, his balls blow early, is perhaps how I would describe it. ChiYo, he sees the first opportunity, he sees the first enemy on his screen, and his balls, they pop. They come flying out towards the enemy. And he needs to stop that. He needs to slow things down a little bit, make that first layer a second later, let the tanks clash, let the DPS engage. What do we see now? We see a speed ring in main and a wide swing. And this is bad. This is bad. Because what's the speed ring in main for? Who is this for? When Juno uses speed ring, she benefits from it even if she doesn't walk through the ring. You actually catch the speed ring no matter where you shoot it. So if this is for him, he doesn't need it. And it looks like his team is pushing through the white room. So again, we're seeing these big coordination issues. And the other problem with going for your balls like this, if your team is pushing through the white room and you swing out here in main, how are you ever going to heal your teammates? Because they're going to be behind this wall right here. So again, a little bit of an issue here for ChiYo. I feel like there was a massive opportunity right here for ChiYo to go for an engagement with the Orbital Ray. If he has Orbital Ray, they can brawl head to head with this composition. Maybe he's not doing that because there is a Mei in play, but they also, well, the Mei is dead. The Mei is dead pre-fight. So that shouldn't be an issue. They should be comfortable to just brawl head to head, to force point, drag the enemy out, or just clash head on. But instead, ChiYo, he's gone into the space that is good for his hero, but it's not good in the context of his team. He can't see his teammates. So how are you going to get high value balls? You're not. It's that simple. And then this Orbital Ray in spawn, he can't see anyone. Not a single player is on his screen. And he pulls out the Orbital Ray. Atrocious. Atrocious from ChiYo at this point. Because he can't see a damn thing. No enemies, nothing. And you can see this has been completely kited. All the enemy had to do was walk around the corner, throw up their symbol. If they repush right here, then, you know, maybe they're going to make a bad ult look good. Because they're going to push back into the Orbital Ray. But it looks like Falcons are just on the run. Oh, you see, this is the error. This is not so much a good play from ChiYo, but they've actually managed to get value from his Orbital Ray in the end because Fnatic, they've made this terrible mistake of pushing into the Orbital Ray. They've wound up in the enemy team's Orbital Ray, inside ChiYo's ult, and they've pushed into their own deaths. They actually completely kited the ultimate out. They had this wonderful sim wall that they could have just backed up behind, held position, waited, but instead they've pushed into their deaths. But to be frank, ChiYo, I mean, it's disastrous how he's playing this hero. He never seems to have these good angles to actually get the balls off. His balls always come out too early. Premature. Premature balls, bad fight space. When he's in good fight space, it appears that his team is not playing around the fact that he's on the Juno. His team pushes inside and he's miraculously outside. He's using his ult to run away from people, which is never what you want to see. Team 2 is Fnatic and Team 1 is Falcons. And quickly, you know, just to wrap this up, I'll show you what good Juno gameplay can look like. Because here, over on the second screen right now, you'll see Violet, who's probably the best Juno in the world right now. And the sad reality of good Juno gameplay is that it's a little bit boring. It's all about holding a strong position where you can simultaneously see your team and see the enemy, and just playing that mid ground, playing for uptime, playing for constantly shooting the enemy and your team with your balls at the same time, a panoramic view. And you see, there's no better position to see both the enemy and his team than this top right. He can see all of the enemy up in main, he can peek off to the left, yep, and straight away the chat goes to sleep because this is boring as. But that's the reality of Juno. If you want to get high value, you need to be patient. You need to play in the mid ground. You need to see teammates and enemy. Already, from 2 uses of the balls from Violet, we've seen more enemies and teammates hit in this time than we saw in the entirety of ChiYo's gameplay. Here we have the perfect example, a subtle off angle where you can see both the enemy and your teammates, and you don't use your balls until you see skills committed. That's the difference between a good Juno and a bad one. There's patience and there's positioning off to the side. The problem with ChiYo is that he has no patience. He blows early, he blows quick, and then his balls get no value whatsoever. Sometimes a ball that is most valuable is one that you have to wait a little bit for. And I think that's a good note to close on.